So here is the Necrophonics app, and I'm going to put the phone up to the microphone so that you can hear what is being said. All right, so is there anything the fairies would like to add to this reading? Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and to the Ask the Fairies weekly card reading. This week is for March 8th through the 14th. All right, so let us get the cards shuffled and split and see what cards that the fairies have to share with us for this week. And as always, yes, I did swish them on the table first. Seems to be the easiest way to get them to mix much better than my shuffling. Ooh. Okay, let us split the deck here. All right, so the first card here for March 8th through the 14th is the 10 of Diamonds, known as Tendra in this deck. Next is the 2 of Hearts. Third card, the King of Hearts, number 13, known as Good King Nehemiah. And we have the Ace of Hearts, Agana, in this deck. Well, for 2 weeks we didn't have any hearts at all. Now we have 3/4 of a layout that is hearts. And 1 diamond, so we're all in the red. We're missing the spades, we're missing the clubs. So we will see how that plays out as we read each card individually. Okay, so the first card here is the 10 of Diamonds, and in this deck she is called Tendra. And if you look closely at the card, you see that she has a gentleman by the hair. However, there is no body attached to him. Now, we have seen this card before, and it is currently in its natural position of diamonds, which obviously gives it importance. Now, what this card is depicting is a person in the card, but this would be many persons, who is very wealthy and used to getting their own way and very much enjoys controlling everything and making sure that they are very happy, but they have all the control so that they dictate what others can and cannot do every day. And when that doesn't happen, the fire within them just stokes, gets so fired up and angry, because this, as far as they are concerned, is their God-given right, source-given right. And this is something that we are beginning to really see. In other words, the people. Last week we discussed events that are taking place that are kind of hidden from sight. Well, it has to do, all those events has to do with these people. And it's starting to be seen how very little they are thinking of us. Everything that they are doing is for their good, their value, and they really have no respect for us as human beings. But again, we are starting to see. Everything is becoming illuminated for us so that we are able to see those people who are telling us untruths after untruths after untruths to try and gain our trust, try and gain our souls. And this literally is what it comes down to. These people cannot stand our humanity. So they are doing all that they can to destroy our humanity, as you can see from the severed head. Now these other 3 cards here, they're all of the water element. This is fire. All these cards here, this is very important because fire is put out in most cases by water. And this is all being drenched. This is part of the, again, events we talked about last week taking place that we really can't see, but the illumination is happening and these people are being washed away. That's exciting. Now this second card is the 2 of Hearts. And you can see 2 people tethered together in this card. And yes, they may be male and female, but this card is not necessarily about a couple or a relationship of a couple, such as a man or a woman or whatever way it goes. This card is about relationships in general. And these people have done their best to try and endear us to them. However, a relationship takes more than binding. In other words, you cannot force people to love you. And as you can see, they're bound. Their arms are bound, their bodies are bound, and that binding is what is missing here. It is the club. And remember, the club is our thinking, our ability to breathe, our ability to be creative, but it's also our abilities to be communicative. Clubs holds us together. It's the air that we breathe that actually connects us. And these people have done their best to try and make it look like, oh, we're your best friends. Everything that we're doing is for your own good, but you have to do it as you're told because you're tied, you're bound to us if we do these things for you. Not a really good place to be. In the meantime, as we're bound, they are removing everything that makes us human. So not a really good price to pay here. And this is something, again, that has created a great deal of emotion, uncontrolled emotion, because as we saw last week, there's a lot of controversy going on in a lot of different areas, a lot of different subjects that we are fighting with each other. And that is exactly what they wanted. That is exactly why the things were done that were done. And now here we are. They're trying to tell us they're such loving captors. Not at all correct. They are removing everything that makes us human. And that was the plan all along. But they're being seen now, which is so exciting. And this is all going to change. So this third card here is the King of Hearts, and he's considered good King Nehemiah. And if you take a really good look at him, he just really doesn't seem all there, does he? Seems as though he's maybe had a little too much to smoke, or a little too much to drink, or somebody's drugged him, or it really doesn't matter. He just doesn't look too good. And this heart is in its natural position, okay, which brings our attention to it, just like this diamond. And this individual is depicting someone we all know and are seeing not a lot of, but hearing about. And he's kind of like a clown. At least that's how this is depicted, or the court jester. These people are counting on the emotion, sympathy perhaps. Follow this man because, oh look, he has a problem. He really doesn't know what he's doing. He's really not in control at all. However, they needed to make it look like we have someone other than them. He's kind of like a scapegoat or a pawn in the game, so to speak. Don't think he's innocent, but at the moment, right now, he has no idea what is actually going on. And they're counting on us being sympathetic, no matter what he does, which, by the way, is the music in his ears. He's not doing anything of his own accord. This is important to know too, and is also being illuminated. So this last card here is the Ace of Hearts. And in this deck, it is called Agana. And you can see the raptor at the top, the bird of prey, and you can see the hand holding up the heart. And the heart has one eye open. That's showing the subconscious mind in this card. Now, the large raptor here is those people who are hanging on still to the narrative, the false narrative. They need to cling to something because their emotions are just so up and down. And these people have made sure that our emotions are up and down. There is nothing solid about the information that has been given. And as an example to that, it is, wear a face apparatus. Oh no, a face apparatus won't work. Oh, wear 2 face apparatuses because that'll work better. But oh no, that's probably not good for you either. And narratives just keep coming up and stories just keep being given that are created to confuse and make the emotions go up and down and up and down and up and down so that a person has no idea where they actually stand, and they can keep everyone in this bound position. Because if you're bound, you can't move. You're frozen. You're solid in place because you don't know which direction to go, even if you could get loose. So there are those that these people knew would cling no matter what because they want to survive so badly. It doesn't matter what they have to do or eat, or they just want to live. Now that's all of us, but there is such a thing as massive fear of dying, as though there is no possibility of coming back. That when you die, you go absolutely nowhere. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, perhaps, is maybe what some of them are thinking. Many people may also be feeling very alone. But in fact, we are all in the same position in that we are being attacked. Our humanity is being attacked. And subconsciously, I think many are awakening. They're opening their eyes. They're awakening and seeing this falsity and this slavery and this greed. But then there still are a few who are so wrapped up in their emotions and their anger and their hate for a singular person. And, this whole mess, there's not one single person that is responsible for this. This is a group of people. And how we react to each other has been such a huge part of this plan. They knew how our emotions would create strife and how it would just empower them and how confused and easily manipulated we could be. Now, not all of us have believed any of this since the beginning. And some have come into the realization of what's going on a little later in the game. However, now it's known. But yet again, there are still some who need to awaken, as we talked about last week. And this card is just depicting the desire of those people who are awake to make all of this known. And in some cases, it's the impatience of it all. Watching everything unfold and not seeing it happen fast enough. The emotion runs high. See, it's going upwards. The emotions run high. And the emotions run deep. It's that inner well that we have. And thank goodness it's running, because we don't want it stagnant. We don't want it stopping. We want all of this illuminated. And it is happening, which is perhaps, a huge part of this card with the severed head. It's disgusting, but it is important. This is the kind of thing that is happening that most people would prefer to close their eyes to, but it cannot be that way any longer. If our earth is going to exist, and as we see, we have no earth card in this layout. If our earth is going to exist in a way that we wish it to be, then all of this stuff has to be brought into the light. So this card also is sharing that we have a choice as to what kind of emotion that we wish to bring forth. Do we want it to be love and devotion and passion, the good kind of love? Or do we want to continue on the path of being obsessive and fearful and acting on a compulsion rather than the soft kind of love? And there is a place for both. However, in this case, the angry part of the emotion is oftentimes not focused in the right place. We're focusing on each other, not on the people who really have created all of this fiction life we have been leading over the last year. So I think the fairies have given a pretty passionate message here. And I say passionate because of the hearts. And they are using the love for us in a good way, showing us how to wash away and the patience that is required to see all of this take place, and to realize that it is not just a singular person who has caused everything to go as it has. A singular person has been blamed, not this one. However, human nature says it's easier to put the blame on someone else than to actually look inside and see where the blame might actually be. We are all responsible for our actions, our own actions. So the fairies have offered a good bit of information here. And as always, take what resonates with you and disregard whatever doesn't work for you. I am going to attempt a Necrophonics session here to see if we can get any more information from the fairies than what we have already gotten from them. So here is the Necrophonics app, and I'm going to put the phone up to the microphone so that you can hear what is being said. All right, so is there anything the fairies would like to add to this reading? So, if there is anything on the Necrophonics recording, I will be making that into a different video. So I would put a link to that video in this reading description below. So until next week, take care.